Aloha kako, mahalo for joining us today. We will begin with a pule by Commissioner Namuo.
Aloha everyone. Ke aloha o ke akua e ke puni mai I a kako. The love of God enfolds us. E pule kako, let us pray. Dear Lord, thank you for this day. We pray that you watch over us and everyone in need of your grace. Protect us, guide us, and fill our hearts with peace. Forgive us for our weaknesses and strengthen our faith in you. Where there is faith, there is peace. Where there is peace, there is love. Where there is love, there is the Lord. Your love never fails. Give us all the strength and courage to do our best in working together for the good of our people. And when we are done with our beloved work here, kindly guide us all safely home. Amen.
Amen. The meeting of the Hawaiian Homes Commission is called to order. The meeting is being held virtually on Zoom and in person at Halepunui, 91-5420 Kapolei Parkway, Kapolei Wall 96707. I'm Kali Watson, Chairman of the Commission, and today's date is Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. The time is 9:35. Leo, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Freitas. Here. Commissioner Kalekini. Commissioner Kaneakua.
Aye.
Commissioner Lasua.
Aye.
Commissioner Marfio will be joining us later. Commissioner Shaylin Ornelas is excused. Commissioner Namu'o.
Here.
Commissioner Kalepa.
Aye.
And Chair Watson. 7 members present. We have a quorum.
Yeah. Okay, approval of the agenda. The Commission will recess at noon for an executive session and lunch. There's no DHHL community meeting this month. Tomorrow, several of us will be excused to attend the opening of the 2026 legislature. Commissioner Kaneakua will run tomorrow's meeting. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Okay, are there any edits or comments for the December 15th and 16th, 2025 Commission meeting minutes? I think I just have one typo that boulder drone on page 4 should be, what do you call it? Boulder drone.
Got it.
Any others? No? Okay. Let's see, is there a motion
Second.
with a change? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Okay, and this is historic. No public testimony on agenda items. I guess we're not acting need to get more aggressive, okay. Okay, let's have the consent agenda. Juan Garcia.
Hello, Chairman, members of the Commission, and all of the attendees here in person and those online. Again, for the record, my name is Juan Garcia. I'm the Homestead Services Division Administrator. Wishing everyone a joyful and prosperous new year. Homestead Services Division has 10 items for you for your approval. Just a couple of highlights. I did provide you with the corrected page 35 of item D4 and D6. Because of additional staff, applications branch was able to clean house, so to speak. There are roughly about 7 items included in that agenda. Public notices that are coming out of the 2019, 20, 22, and 23 public notices that we were able to finally come to you for approval. We were able to finally make contact with the claimants as well as clear their NHQ. Again, if you have any other questions, I'd be glad to respond after you move the items for motion.
Okay, we're gonna have a motion first.
Second.
Okay, any questions?
Just a comment.
Commissioner Kaneko?
Juan, you and your people have put together an amazing array of work that represents hours and days, months of really hard scouring. And so thank you for getting these things in front of us. We know that, you know, the voluminous pages that you've got here represent the hopes and dreams of lots and lots of our people who depend on us to get that work done. So thank you to you and your staff on behalf of all of us that wait on this work to be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Again, it falls back on staff that has been very dedicated and committed to the mission of the department. Kudos to them.
Yeah.
Chair, question?
Commissioner Lucio?
One, on the approval of streamlined refinance of loans, I noticed that 12-month, you guys wait for a 12-month condition that, and then they have a drop in their interest rate and so forth. How often do you do that?
We monitor each of the borrowers that are currently in default of their mortgage payments, and whether or not they are under a decision and order. If that defaulted borrower adheres to the 12 months and make 12 consecutive payments, through this commission, your approval to refinance those defaulted loans, if they've met those conditions, we come before you. So it's a constant monitoring of our defaulted loans.
Yeah, I appreciate the, what you guys are doing for the beneficiaries, because I think it's a way of helping our beneficiaries in a way that, you know, they're able to get a lower interest rate on their mortgage and stuff. But after a satisfactory payment of 12 months,
Yes, it's making certain that they have the ability and proving themselves by making those 12 consecutive payments.
yeah. So in the 12, what determines the 12 months instead of 6 months?
The staff felt that 12 months provided the staff with more of an assurance that the borrower will continue and able to sustain those payments as opposed to 6 months.
Okay.
But if the commission is wanting to consider shortening that, I think.
No, I'm not saying that we should drop it to 6 months. I'm just trying to determine what is used to determine a 12-month period instead of a 6-month period. I can understand that, to me, coming from a financial area, I think 12 months is a lot, but it also makes sure that the beneficiaries are able to satisfy what is needed for them to get the benefits that we're giving them. And so I just wanted to clarify what 6 months comparison to a 12-month comparison would be.
Yeah, I think one of the benefits of the 6 months to the 12 months, in addition to making the 12-month payments, we are asking the borrower, the lessee, to make certain that other financial obligations, real property taxes, their
Yeah.
lease rent, providing evidence of active insurance. In some cases, it does take time for the defaulted lessee to obtain the finances to bring the insurance to date, as well as real property taxes and other financial obligations that they have.
And I think Hawaiian Homes is bending backwards to help the members, the beneficiaries. So I appreciate that part of it. Because when I seen this, I was really amazed, because I was trying to think, as you know, when I asked you about your delinquency report, this kind of relates to that too.
Yes.
So if they do have a better repayment plan, the beneficiaries, then they can have this benefit. So
That's
I-
correct.
Yeah, so I appreciate
Yeah,
your.
thank you for that
your
comment,
report.
Commissioner.
Thank you, Juan.
Yeah, let me also add that, with respect to, especially our direct loans, we have that flexibility. But I'm also trying to reorganize the collections division of our department. And so we're bringing in somebody that has a lot of experience, especially working with some of the outside consultants that are involved in that kind of taking a look, trying to face-to-face meetings and trying to fashion an approach that not only takes advantage of a lower interest rate, but there are some grants, like with the Catholic Charities, that they can use to reduce their delinquency in a major way. Something like, what, 25, 30,000?
30,000, and just to piggyback on that comment, Chair, from 2025 to January of this year, just up to date, we have referred a number of defaulted borrowers, and we've been able to work with the beneficiaries to take advantage of about north of $600,000 for that program to help out these defaulted borrowers.
Yeah, not only does it resolve the part of the delinquency, but more importantly, it adds money to our fund that we can then redistribute in new loans. So I think we really do have to get not only get alternative sources, but also have the delinquent guys kind of step up to where and when they can to provide that additional. Because if they don't pay it, then that kind of impacts some of the people on our waiting list that are receiving these new awards. So it's all a process. The percentage of delinquencies are going down, which is a good sign. But it's going to go down even more with some of the adjustments we're making in-house. Okay, any other questions for Juan? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Juan.
Mahalo, Commissioners.
Okay, the next item, E1, approval of lease award and cancellation of corresponding applications, the Piilani Mai Kekai, and vacant lots in Anahoa. Kalani, Fanda.
Aloha, Chair Watson and
Aloha.
Commissioners. For the record, Kalani Fronda, Acting Administrator with the Land Development Division, here to present E1, approval of lease award and cancellation of corresponding application for Piilani Maikikai Subdivision Phase 2 residential vacant lots. Recommendation is to approve the award of Department of Hawaiian Homelands lot lease to the applicant listed here below for 99 years and approval of the cancellation of the residential application upon conveyance of the lease award.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay, any questions? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. Next item, E2, approval of lease award and cancellation of a corresponding application for Wailuku, single family. Kalani?
Recommendation for E2 is to approve the awards of Department of Hawaiian Homelands lot leases to the 184 applicants listed below for 99 years and approval of the cancellation of their residential applications upon conveyance of the lease award. This is for Wailuku Single Family Subdivision in Wailuku, Maui.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Any questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Okay, next item, E3, approval of lease awards and cancellation of the applications for Leali'i.
E3 is a recommendation to approve the awards of DHHL leases to the 151 applicants listed below for 99 years and approval of the cancellation of their residential applications upon conveyance of the lease award. This is for Leali'i 1B subdivision in Lahaina, Maui.
Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carried. Next item, E4, approval of lease award similarly for Wai'ehu Mauka.
Recommendation on E4 is to approve the awards of DHHL land land lot leases to the 331 applicants listed below for 99 years, and approval of the cancellation of their residential applications upon conveyance of the lease awards. This is for Waiehumauka subdivision in Wailuku, Maui.
Is there a motion? Second? Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Next item, E5, similarly for Kamalani subdivision.
The recommendation for E5 is to recommend the approval of the awards for DHHL lot leases to the 71 applicants listed here below for 99 years, and approval of the cancellation of the residential applications upon conveyance of the lease awards. This is for Kamalani subdivision.
Is there a motion?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Next item,
Thank you.
well, Kalani, let me just say that similar to Homestead Services Division, you know, it's just pretty awesome that you guys are getting all these project leases out. You know, collectively, what is that, maybe close to 1,000?
About there.
Yeah. So, again, it's a reflection of staff and just a change in approach. And so the program is being very, very active. I can't stress enough the 600 million, but we're not POW. It's only the first phase. So we're in the construction of the first phase of these projects, but there's a second phase. So that's where the legislature is coming in, and hopefully this session will be able to raise some additional funds using various means. So it's going to be challenging, but I think we have a House side that's very supportive, and so we're trying to convince the Senate. I think if we do, we'll have a steady stream of funding for the next 25 years. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item, F1, approval of the amended license to remove and release Hawaii Maoli from the license agreement number 642.
Aloha kako.
Hello.
Good morning, Chair and Commission members. I am your newly appointed director, or I'm sorry, administrator for the Land Management Division. Today, we have a number of items in front to bring to you for consideration. The first is item F1, approval to amend the license agreement for number 642, Hawaii Maoli and Association of Hawaiian Civic Club, East Kapolei, Oahu Island. Tax map number is in your packet. Excuse me. We recommend today's motion that the Hawaiian Home Commission grant its approval for the amendment license agreement number 642 as follows. Number one, remove and release Hawaii Maoli, a Hawaiian nonprofit organization, as co-licensee of the license agreement number 642 pursuant to its request from email dated December 5th, 2025. Number two, to acknowledge and deem the Association of Hawaiian Civic Clubs, herein referred to as AOHCC, a Hawaiian nonprofit organization, as the sole licensee of license agreement number 642. The effective date for the amendment shall be February 1st, 2026. All other terms and conditions of the license agreement number 642 shall remain in full force and effect. We request that you authorize DHHL to address any outstanding compliance matters with the AOHCC. And finally, we request approval for the amendment document by the State of Hawaii Department of Attorney General.
Okay, can we get a motion before we have a discussion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Chair, we do have Dre Kali here, the president of the Civic Association.
Oh,
She's
okay.
here to
Why don't you
answer
bring
any
her up?
questions and provide some background.
Sure. Okay. Would you
Hello,
like to say
Chair
something?
and members of the Commission. I'm Dre Kalili, the President of the Association of Hawaiian Civic Clubs. So we'll be the sole licensee should the item be approved today. This has been a long time coming. We have been behind the scenes of this license and this property since its inception. We did have a partner, 501c3. We no longer have that partnership, and so that's why we're here today. Some of this was explained at the October meeting when we took the first action, and I think the willingness of Hawaii Maoli to be released from the license really stemmed from the Commission's action in October, so I mahalo you again for that. And I think another thing that I would just like to put out there is we have been approached by KCGC, by Hawaiian Council, who currently sits on the property, through our partnership, to really think ahead and really think of what our community needs from this property as far as services. So we would like to enter some kind of larger redevelopment of the property that is much more coordinated and collaborative and much more thoughtful of what in 2026 our community needs as far as seeking services from our various organizations. But I've been unwilling to engage in that discussion until we are fully responsible for the license. So should this action again be approved today, we'll be able to take steps forward in making sure we can do that. Thank you.
Okay, any questions?
Question, Mr. Chair?
Commissioner
Is there a
Moore?
timetable by which this will be resolved? Do you have a timetable?
So if the commission makes the approval today, I'll work with LMD to sign the license. And then I think the remaining issue with the association and Hawaii Maoli will be resolved immediately. And then I think it's just whatever time we need with the partner licensees to figure out what the future of all pads look like.
Okay, hopefully it will be in a timely manner since it's
Absolutely.
been years and years.
We are eager to
Okay, thank you.
do that.
Any other questions? I was wondering, on the email from AGARD, they talked about 80,000 payment, whereas in your agreement you got 75,000. Why the difference?
So it is the agreement.
75.
There is no amendment to the agreement. We will pay the balance, which is 50,000,
Okay.
for a total of 75.
Okay, any other questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item, F2, approve the amend license to remove and release Paneava Community Alliance from license number 788.
Again, aloha.
Hello?
This particular item F2, we recommend that the Hawaiian Home Commission grant approval for the amendment to the license 788 as follows. Number one, that we remove and release Paneava Community Alliance, a Hawaiian domestic nonprofit organization, as co-licensee for the license number 788. Number two, to acknowledge and deem Paneava Hawaiian Homelands Community Association in a Hawaii domestic nonprofit organization as the sole licensee for license number 788. The effective date for this amendment shall be February 1st, 2026. All other items and conditions of the license 788 shall remain in full force and effect. Should this be approved, we recommend approval of the amendment document by the Department of the Attorney General. We also have today Kaulani Almeida, President of the Commission of the Community Association, here to provide any background.
Okay, when'd you call her up? Kaui. First of all, let's have a motion. Do we have a?
So moved. Second.
Okay, go ahead. Good morning, Kaui.
Anything to say?
Well, after you,
No, we made a motion. We just, before we take action, we want
I don't
to
have
get any
any,
info.
I've submitted everything that I needed to submit for that request. So I really don't have anything further to say about it.
Okay, any questions?
Quick question.
Commissioner Kalekini?
Frank, on this item number about the AG, is that have to do with actually amending the license 788? Is that what that is about? Okay, thank you.
Okay, I had a question. You know, this particular license goes back way to 1995.
Used to
And
be
I-
license 365.
Yeah, and that's when I was the chair, and that's a long, long time ago. Now, what's the situation with the site? Has there been any improvements or activity on the site?
Yes, we got a federal grant from the Department of Ag right now. That is, we're going to be putting fence in there so that we can contain it because of our homeless population using the forest, just trespassing. So right now, that's what's been holding up a lot of what we're doing is because it's that plus the getting the insurance. Pretty much, that's what's holding this project back because that's why we asked for them to be removed because whoever is on that property as licensee has to be put on these other documents as well. So I'm just trying to get all of this back into the hands of the community association. Yeah.
Okay, I remember you coming to my office way back when I was the chair the first time. You had all these, wonderful plans and drawings, and I was very impressed. But that's 30 years ago.
Yes.
So, with this action, hopefully you'll have an opportunity to move it along rather than being another 30 years. So, I'll be very candid. I'm going to be watching. I want to see some activity on that lot, not just fencing it. We were talking about kupuna housing, a resource center, all kind of really good stuff. But right now it's just a forest and you put in a fence around it. That doesn't work for me. So if you got to get a developer or somebody that knows how to do it, do it. But cannot stay like that, Kelly, okay? So I am going to be monitoring it. We're going to give you probably some grant money to help move it along, but it has to move. So not another 30 years, okay?
That is actually our, we're looking at different plans that have come before us. And we're gonna, revisit it because it's what the community wanted. But of course, the needs of the community has changed as well. And so, part of the large problem is we're on moratorium for 7 years.
The department will help you in any way it can.
Okay,
If
so
there's infrastructure but it's, when I look around, like the Omaka market, they got theirs up. The Nanakuli Village Center, they got theirs up. Mike Hodson's group in Waimea, they're moving along. They're putting in an emergency shelter. A lot of good stuff. But all I see at that site is a forest, and that's been 30 years. That's too long. So I do want to see some activity on there. If there's not, we're going to take it back. I'm just giving you a heads up. Okay, okay, Kali. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Good luck, Kali.
And I just wanted to say mahalo to the commission, especially our Commissioner Kalekini, who's worked really, really hard with us since he's come to the position of commissioner, but mostly for everybody for having this happen. This is
Okay.
mahalo from our community.
Okay, Kali, thank you. Okay, the next item, F3, authorization to initiate general lease process pursuant to 20482 or 220.5 regarding Kauai High. Frank?
For this particular item, item F3, our recommendations are that the Hawaiian Homeland Commission, the Hawaiian Homes Commission approve the disposition of the above referenced parcels, which is the Kauai High Kai Hana 2 Industrial Subdivision on Hawaii Island, based on, to include the following. First is to expend the budgeted funds necessary to do due diligence activities, which include but are not limited to a fair market summary appraisal report, environmental assessment, and DHHL beneficiary consultation on the subject parcels deemed necessary and appropriate. And number two, to set all appropriate terms and conditions of the disposition in accordance with the requirements of Section 204A2 or Section 220.5 of Hawaiian Homes Commission Act of 1920, which amended, and Chapter 171 Hawaii Revised Statutes as amended. To provide background information and answer any questions you may have, we have Kahana Albino here from your Land Management Division.
Okay, Keanu, you want to say anything?
Yeah, again, this is again just a process for us to initiate the disposition for general lease. I know last month, I believe, there was a lessee that had surrendered their lease, paid us some, I think, $280,000, and now they're out. Now we gotta put somebody back in and do our due diligence before we do that.
Okay, can we have a motion and then discussion?
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Yeah, sure.
Commissioner Freitas?
Thank you guys very much for going through this process. I know it was a long, I don't say arduous, but it was a long process to get us to where we're at today. Looking at item number one, the key points in that is the due diligence, of course, with the environmental assessment and the consultation. Those things will get done, obviously, I'm assuming, prior to really putting something up for bid, sorry for lack of better words, or whatever the process is. So I'm assuming you guys will be working hand in hand with the Kalapa
Yes.
Homestead Association. And also, I'm sure their concerns they have that I'm sure as a commission we're not really privy to. So I just wanted to get that on the record and that's a question. Okay. Thank you, guys.
So we work hand in hand with the planning office too in that, yeah.
Okay, what's the condition of those two warehouses?
It's okay. It's not dilapidated or anything. So enough to house and if they want to use it, if the next user wants to use it.
So the idea is
It's
to-
open warehouse type thing. Yeah, it's not
Right.
like closed off.
So the idea is to lease it out with those warehouses.
Correct.
And part of that. So with those improvements, we should get a pretty good
Yeah,
return.
assess. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Commissioner Kaliakini?
Sorry.
Oh, Commissioner.
That will be at what, fair market value?
Correct. We're gonna have a appraisal done.
Have we had any interest thus far?
To my
Right. We
to my
just gotta
understanding, not
put
yet.
it out
Yeah,
to bid.
yeah.
Well, that comment, that concerns me in that there's no interest. Now, I guess part of the challenge is you guys over here versus guys over there. You got maybe, and I don't know how close you guys work with the district office or guys that are from there, from that have and probably additional contacts that you guys don't have. So I think as a department, we need to use all our, I guess, information gathering that's out there. So don't hesitate to, work with the outside island staff
Right.
to see if they have any leads, because I don't want to, have, a lease award that's somewhat isolated because a lot of people, they don't read about the, maybe, and how are we looking to advertise about it?
On our website.
Just our website?
Yeah, basically. And I know Andrew's working real hard with that and doing drone stuff, so people can see the actual, footage, drone footage, if anything, on the website.
What about the private sector? Why not work with the brokers out there? Give them a commission. I mean, can we give them a commission?
I don't think we can.
You can check.
We cannot.
That would be an AG question, if
Can we give
anything.
them a commission? If they get us a good tenant and make some good money?
It would have to be a professional services procurement to hire. It would have to be a professional services procurement to hire the agent.
Okay.
Well, maybe we should do that, guys, right? Because just going on our website, that's very limited.
Right.
And I do want to, get a lot more professional in disposition as well as management of our revenue-producing lands. And if we're and I would view it as partly a mismanagement if we limit our marketing of the thing. So let's kind of step it up and maybe look to getting a little bit more aggressive in the marketing. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those
Mahalo.
opposed, Motion carried. Thank you, guys. Next item, F4, approval to amend the entity to be issued a long-term license agreement from the Homestead Association of Veterans to the Molokai Homestead Association of Veterans.
Thank you, Chair. As your final action item from us today, we recommend that the Hawaiian Homes Commission grant its approval to amend the entity to be issued long-term license from Homestead Association of Veterans to the Molokai Homestead Association of Veterans for the purpose of the administration, fiscal and physical management and maintenance of the Ho'olehua Veterans Homestead Residence Center. Excuse me. All approved license terms identified in the October 2021 of 2004 submittal number F5, Section 2, A through J shall still remain in effect. Essentially, what we've done here, if my background information is correct, is that the meeting of October 20th, 2024, the Commission approved the submittal, item F5, consisting of a two-part motion. One was the issuance of an interim license agreement to the Molokai Homestead Farmers Alliance, and two was the issuance of a long-term license agreement to the Homestead Association of Veterans. We have that Exhibit A. The interim license agreement allows for the Molokai Homestead Farmers Association to perform management functions while providing technical assistance to the future long-term licensee as they obtain their tax-exempt status from the Internal Revenue Service. The Department of Hawaiian Homeland's Land Management Division was recently informed that the entity approved for long-term management changed from the Homestead Association Veterans of Molokai to the Homestead Association of Veterans to the Molokai Homestead Association of Veterans. In its capacity as approved, the interim licensee confirms that they are providing technical support to the Molokai Homestead Association of Veterans for future long-term management. The Molokai Homestead Association of Veterans is a registered domestic nonprofit with the Hawaii Department of Commerce. We respectfully recommend that this request is approved. If you have any other questions, I can see if I can hopefully answer them for you.
Well, let's have a motion first.
Chair, I approve.
One second.
Okay, discussion. Commissioner Lasua, you okay with this motion?
Yes, I am. It had to do with a name correction on the association. But in addition to that, it's outside of what I'm talking about as far as the approval is concerned. But I just was notified that the contract had to go in and do some repair work on the walls. So I just wanted to mention that in this meeting.
They are going in to do some repair.
Yeah, they had to bring in a contractor to correct the problems that they've been having. So as long as we continue doing that, yeah.
How many problems they got over there, man? That thing's been
I
sitting
think
for a
this is
while.
the second or third time that they have to go in and correct the walls. I guess the drywall, the mud that they use is flaking off the walls.
That's
so-
DD Construction. Is that the contractor?
Contractor, yeah.
Yeah.
So they had to hire somebody to go in and redo the wall. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Thank you. We'll keep tabs on that.
Thank you.
Chair. I know that we had, when we were out there, a couple of times, we had some discussions, and they got pretty heated during the time amongst the people that were trying to do this. And I just want to make sure that, because Commissioner Lasua has been in there trying to smooth things over, make sure that everybody's served properly. And as long as you are good with this, Commissioner, I'm 100% behind you.
Yeah, I know the veterans have been meeting with the other association as well, so they're okay with that. So I don't see any other problem except to get this going.
Okay. Well, I really have to thank you for jumping in there because it was very heated even before that. And when you joined the commission, I was kind of thinking about you and your involvement with, and all you commissioners, especially as you get involved in this community issues. The department really, and I personally appreciate you guys' involvement because that's the only way we're going to resolve it is, especially commissioners from there. And, it's very wonderful that you went in and because I know it was a very emotional and bad feelings were being exchanged. So thank you for resolving it.
Yeah, prior to that, I did meet with General Logan and Hara prior to the Holyoke veterans taking that place. Because in addition to that, we're always also looking at the area as the disaster recovery area, or you guys call it resilience program. And so it's a good area that if the homesteaders on the lower level, like Kapa'akea, Kalamaula, Onali'i, as you know, they're doing resilience research on the area because of the high tide water and all that, especially for Kapa'akea, that in case there's any type of problems with tsunamis and stuff, they were able to evacuate people up to that area. And that's the whole purpose for that. And General Hara and Logan also included, because it's a situation area where we can land choppers in the area. He was all for that. So, thank you.
Are you guys looking to get more money for that? Is there an upgrade or anything, or just as is?
I'm not sure as far as the money is concerned.
You might want to talk to Mike Hudson. He got some funding from the feds.
Yeah, I know Hara was talking about the flagpole and all that for
Yeah, and it was a situation where the department stepped up, put some money on the table, and he was able to leverage that to get more money. So, very smart guy. You should tap his brain. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh, we got one testifier. Kaikili Pakala.
Hello, Commissioners. Hear me?
Hello. You're on.
All right. Hello, Commissioners. Chairman Watson. My name is Kahekili Pakala, and I am beneficiary of Kapa'akea Homestead. To oppose what Commissioner Lasua was just mentioning about, and also some other items that are on the agenda. Hold ours. 3, 7, and agenda items 1 through and speaking as the president of Kapa'akea Association, it kind of disgusts me that Commissioner Lasua would say that we were okay with, Kapa'akea Homestead Association was okay with Hollywood getting money to fund this veteran center when there's already a veteran center here on Molokai was just built not too long ago. Also, because me as a Kapa'akea beneficiary, we've been getting a lot of damages to our homesteads due to the flooding that happened in the past, due to sea level rise. And yes, I have been working with the planning division, but all they have been doing is taking my ideas, tweaking it a little bit to benefit themselves. The beneficiaries and what we really intend to do with our Ahupua'a. It is clear to me that they're planning on building more homes in these Ahupua'as when our Aina Molokai can take any more development, to be honest. There's no resource to sustain more homes to be using more water. And that is a proven fact that goes back to the Cavella intake battle that I was a part of in Molokai Ranch, and we were able to shut that intake down thanks to the Water Commission. So it's really frustrating for a homesteader to know that a lot of money that's coming towards the island of Molokai is being focused towards Kalamaula Homestead Association. And I don't know how many different associations they have in Hollywood, maybe 4 or 5. And they've been getting more attention than our homesteads being Camilo and Kapaakia, where I grew up. My mom lives in Kapaakia, my mom lives in Camilo, the president of all homestead. I reside in Kapaakia. I'm the Kapaakia homestead. Together, we've been trying to hui up and work the commission to do something that be beneficial to us. After hearing today's meeting, it's clear to see that we are not mentioned at all by Commissioner Losua. Like, I even personally volunteered me and my to go across and start mitigation work so that my house wouldn't get mud. My yard wouldn't be 2 feet higher than what it was flood. And everybody in my neighborhood wouldn't be having to dig muds out of their driveway. Would actually get out of our neighborhood. Yes, in fact, you needed. And we did design one for our wall, not to go run away and go up to the wall. So I can understand why there's a lot of reasons between the two veteran centers, and there is a lot between the homestead association comes down to funding to help the because right now it is clear that it's only focused in certain areas. Also, speaking on and whoever Kaimo McDonald is, I'm not sure who he is, but he's supposedly the head of this hui of homestead associations together. And I was just wondering if Kapaakia is part of it. If we are, why have I not been contacted about anything? I don't know. It's to know what to plan and what Molokai can handle. You have to get an understanding of how our island works. But that's all. Without talking to you guys ears, sorry. But thank you very much.
Okay, well, we appreciate your testimony. I do, and I am aware of that particular area with the sea level rise is going to be a problem. So we are taking a look at that and trying to, address it. I mean, it's a difficult situation. It might even, like the Kalamaula, we have to relocate people to Ho'olehua. Similarly, we might have to do the same, but, it's a situation that we have to work with existing lessees like yourself, involved in a very, very difficult situation. I think with this veteran center, it's more as an emergency shelter. Should there be, kind of a tsunami or whatever, where you got to relocate and have a safe place. But anyway, any other comments? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Next item.
That's all we have for action items. We have an item coming up for discussion, but that's all we have for action items right now.
Okay.
Mahalo.
Oh, okay. Agenda item C1 for information only. Draft Native Hawaiian Housing Block Grant Annual Housing Plan for 2026 to 2027. Lehua?
Aloha Commissioners, Lehua Kinilau Kano, Nahazda Government Relations Program Manager. I did prepare a PowerPoint, Michael, if you are able to pull that up. You folks do have the draft housing plan in your packet, I believe. And so just walking through what those items are that we're proposing to use federal funds for. Thank you for that, Michael. Okay, so, yeah. So next slide, yeah, thank you. So for our CIP projects, it's mainly using the balance of contracts that we have, primarily for East Kapolei 2C development, as well as some pre-service electric work that needs to be done for East Kapolei 2. So that's our CIP item. Next is we also have planning going on for the Eva Beach Homestead project, so that's still ongoing. We hope to get that finalized by the end of this fiscal year. Then we have developer financing, a letter of commitment for $2.4 million for 30 units in La'iopua. I'd like to point this number out because when we go to future ways we're using funds, you'll see how this $2.4 million is really being leveraged through this process, and I think that's what Chair is wanting us to move towards, is to leverage these funds, yeah. So remember that number, $2.4 million, that's 30 units in La'iopua. So next slide, homeowner financing. And this is what I wanted to point out. Twice that number of funds for homeowner financing for only 9 units. So again, needing to look at how we can leverage our money better, but that's what we're proposing of the $27 million for the 45 families in Pu'uhana, Maui. So you'll see our biggest line item will be homeowner financing. Next is Ka'ulo Kaha'i, 25.8 million of the 31.4 million for 43 families for Ka'ulo Kaha'i financing. Home assistance program, this is a home in Nanakuli that we did home repair. On the left side, you can see the before pictures, and on the right side, you can see the after pictures. These are projects we're doing in our oldest homesteads. We have our area-wide environmental done for Nanakuli, so we anticipate more projects from Nanakuli. Next slide is our demo rebuild. This is a home in Waimanalo that we just completed late last year. On the left side is the before picture, and on the right side is the after picture of a demo rebuild. So these are the types of projects we do across our oldest homesteads. So again, those are 2 examples. Yes.
Question. What was the cost for the rebuild?
The cost for?
My question is, what was the cost for the rebuild?
I believe that cost, and I should have pointed out, both of those projects in Nanakuli is in partnership with Leeward Habitat, so the repair is up to $100,000. The demo rebuild, it was a rebuild of a home in Waimanalo. I believe, I can get that for sure. Honolulu Habitat was our partner, and I think it was in the $400,000 range for that demo. So we had to demo the structure that was there before and then rebuild. But I can get that exact figure too. It was in that range though. We have the Waimanalo Kupuna housing project, so we subsidize the rents there to keep rents low. So monthly, we subsidize anywhere from $300 to $1,400 a month for the kupuna who are living there, and that's our annual subsidy of $871,500. Next is our kupuna rental subsidy program. These are our beneficiaries who are on the wait list. What the data shows is that for wait lists, their housing burden is greater. So one way is to subsidize that. So we're assisting about 142 households, and you can see we've dispersed a little over 2.2 million. You had a question, Commissioner Kalapa?
Okay, you know the Kapuna housing?
Or the Waimanalo one?
Yeah, the Waimanalo one. Is it full, or do you guys have vacancies?
I believe there's vacancies, but I believe there's also a wait list.
Because the reason why I'm asking, because I see more and more need for a lot of our Hawaiian Homes projects that need things like this in future building of our projects and existing homesteads.
This is something Chairman wants to, and the low-income housing tax credits, that's an area that Chair wants us to utilize more to develop more kupuna housing. That's why I pointed out that for 2.4 million of NAHASDA funds, 30 units, right? When we get into kupuna housing, that is an area we want to. The Waimanalo, it did use low-income housing tax credit, so it is something we want to do and model in other communities.
Great.
We're looking at Molokai East so far, Waianae near the Waianae Comp, Big Island, Palamanui. So we have a number of different projects that we're looking probably for 2027 on the horizon.
Thank you.
And then rental vouchers. So when we do low-income housing tax credits, we do provide rental housing vouchers for those units to keep it so they pay no more than 30% of their income. So as we have more units developed using low-income housing tax credits, we'll see some of those vouchers that will come up as more units are developed. Housing counseling, anyone who accesses NAHASDA assistance is required to complete housing counseling. So we have a partnership right now with Hawaiian Council to get that housing counseling done. Homeowner assistance, I think when you spoke with Juan earlier, talking about some of the programs for lessees to prevent lease cancellation, we have a partnership with Hawaii Community Lending that up to $30,000 on any past due mortgages, property taxes. We can also look at association fees as well as insurance. So those are the types of assistance, and again, we have a partnership with Hawaii Community Lending. We're still have water infrastructure improvements underway in Molokai that NAHASDA has assisted along with other funds. And then next slide is our housing conversion. It may have been in the news that you folks saw where we converted 18 units in Kalailoa for transitional housing. That's completed. We'll have a management company or a service provider. I'll get on that in the next item. But now we're going to switch gears in terms of housing conversion. These are units in Ma'ili Oahu that was built under an emergency proclamation that we're partnering with a developer to renovate these, and these will be rentals that will be available to our beneficiaries. So that will be the focus now with NAHASDA funds. Another area we're looking to pilot, given the cost of single-family homes here in Ka'ulo Kaha'i, and also in Puhona, but Ka'ulo Kaha'i, traditionally like a 3-bedroom home is running about $550,000 to $610,000. We want to pilot a modular project for 12 units here in Ka'ulo Kaha'i and 7 units in Waianae. We're doing it here on Oahu because we have to work with the counties on all the permitting requirements. So we're using that as a pilot, but we hope that it becomes successful and we can take it elsewhere. And you can see the cost savings. So a total cost with the site work about $610,000 to $436,000. So that's something we'll be working on this next fiscal year. And then this is the Haleo Kumumamo, the transitional housing. So we have a service provider who is going to ensure that our beneficiaries, if you're an applicant on the wait list who is homeless right now, we want to get you into this facility and get services wrapped around you to get you to where you can get into some kind of more stabilized living environment. So again, this is a pilot. Our great team at DHHL is already looking at a site on Kauai that could possibly be the next one if this is successful to model in other homestead areas. And then we're adding something into this housing plan, which we haven't had for a little while. I don't want people to get too excited. We still have to bring staff on to help us get this done, but it's model activities where we can use NAHASDA funds for child or adult daycare centers, especially if we're looking at kupuna housing, to community buildings, job training centers, and sort of stretching the bounds a little bit. The idea of ag resource centers or food hubs are going to work. Any model activity has to be for low-income families, so you have to look at how many low-income families live in that area. You may only be able to get a percentage of NAHASDA funds, not the entire project funded, especially if you have moderate or higher income families. The other thing to keep in mind is that any of these projects has to be approved by the HUD secretary. So the process is going to be a little lengthier, but it is an opportunity to build communities, not just homes. So that's our draft housing plan. It is draft. The hope is that you have some time to review it between now and then next month. We will seek for acceptance and then submittal to HUD.
Okay, are there any questions of Lehua? If not, we do have a public testifier, Kenna Stormer Gibson.
Aloha, Chair Watson and Commissioners. Thank you for being here and providing oversight over NAHASDA funds. I'm really grateful to see that the proposal for this year's NAHASDA funds is largely, home ownership programs, some low-income rental, but a variety of purposes that really seem to fit beneficiary needs. And that's, I think, a big step forward because, as you know, last year, 25 million of NAHASDA funds went towards purchasing Waipoli courtyards, even though there was very little interest on the island of Kauai in a rent-to-own apartment complex. And so I just wanted to testify to say it is important to have oversight over how NAHASDA funds are used. As you know, there's 3 court cases happening right now from residents at Waipoli courtyards because they feel that their Uniform Relocation Act rights have been violated. Our first court hearing is February 5th. And I just wanted to let all the commissioners know the reason we're in court, and nobody wants to do that, is because NAHASDA funds are federal funds and they come with federal rules. And those rules say that all residents at Waipoli courtyards have the right to equal or better than housing. Because federal money is not supposed to put someone worse off. So I sent you that 90-day, I'm giving you that 90-day notice because that came out November 30th from this department. It went to several residents. Many residents received that. And when you read that notice, it does not provide a comparable place to move to. It does not give any instructions about rental assistance. It says you have 90 days or we will start legal action. That's not the spirit or the intent of the Uniform Relocation Act. So I guess I'm just here to say I really appreciate the use of NAHASDA funds moving forward in ways that have been consulted with beneficiaries. I think there's probably a lot of support for these programs. And I would just caution to not put the department in a situation where you are, at legal risk and generating lawsuits. I think it's not a wise use of NAHASDA funds. So just for moving forward. Thank you all.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you, Leo. Okay, the next item, C2, for information only status report for enforcement. David Hope.
Morning, Chair Watson and members of the Commission. David Hoke, Administrator for the Enforcement Unit. This is our monthly efforts from December 8th through January 11th. During this window, we received 14 requests for investigations, which brings the total for 2025 to 204. Also within this window into the new year, we've received 5 additional requests. And since the last submittal, we submitted 29 reports. That brings the total for 2025 to 465 reports, and 1 report submitted within the new calendar year for within this time frame. And in addition, 8 official correspondences were made to beneficiaries regarding investigations which we're working on. So just real quick, looking at those numbers, I want to acknowledge the enforcement staff, the investigators, our legal assistant. They do so much work, and based off of the type of cases that we do and investigations, they're not considered they're not public information. So unfortunately, I don't feel like these numbers really do justice to the amount of time and effort that goes into each case that they do. So I just want to quickly acknowledge them. Onto the next page. During this time frame, we also had to go assist with some HAIMA for severe weather issues. We also work with Salesforce to continue the modernization efforts, which again, have been proven to be super helpful. They've done a ton of modifications to tweak it to the work that we do, and I think it'll really help streamline our work so we can get that information back into the system much quicker. And we did our monthly engagement as usual, and I also want to acknowledge our beneficiaries. That monthly check-in that we sent out, we also sent out a second round for asking for letters of support for our HWMO grant, and we got a lot of responses. So I want to quickly thank them for that as well, because funding's always difficult to get. The department asked, but we all know that that's very limited. So any support that we can get from our beneficiaries to get that grant money to make our homestead safer, we're all for it. And yes, we just continue to work with other agencies and anything else that we can do to try and push our limits a little bit further.
Any questions?
Just comment. I always appreciate the work that you and your team does, David. I got a chance to go wandering with these folks last week. And the reason it's so important to pay attention to what the law or what the enforcement group does is because a lot of our commercial properties that are lying vacant and unused are being encumbered by people that are doing not good stuff out there. Drug use, homeless encampments, et cetera, which creates a liability for us. The other part of it is when we take a look at abandoned properties, residential properties, these properties have been abandoned for such a long time that a serviceable house or residence on the property is now in a state that it just needs to be destroyed. So one of the values that the enforcement teams brings to the commission is an optic when we have to cancel leases or we have to take a look at the best use of our properties, commercial properties. We reduce the liability that we have and we increase the opportunity for revenues to the department. So that's my commercial for the enforcement team. They do an exceptional job, and I'll continue to go wander with you folks as long as you keep me from getting stabbed, shot, and poisoned by needles on the properties. But thank you for all your work.
No, thank you, and again, we appreciate you coming and the support. And I know we briefly talked about it, and I know it's not realistic, but when we do bring cases for cancellation, that's not something that we want to do, but we do feel like it's gotten to that point. And one thing that I spoke to Commissioner Kaneakua about is that seeing it in person, being there, is a whole different level than the pictures. And it's sad, but when you see it in person, you realize this is a house or a situation where the individual did not take advantage of it. And it's sad, but there's so many more on the wait list, and it's, like you said, it's beyond repair. And so, again, we're never going to take cancellations lightly, but when we do push it forward, I feel like that's the solution that's required at this time.
Might have to get some waivers, signed by any of the commissioners go with you guys.
Yes.
Before they go.
Yeah.
Just in case.
So fortunately, there's only one knife this time, I think, when he came with us. So
There are plenty of needles.
there are plenty of needles, though, yeah.
Okay. Hey, keep up the good work, guys.
Question?
All right. Thank you.
Question?
Lasua?
Dave, on the 70 recipients that sent you EU checks, are those island-wide? Is that?
Statewide, yeah. So we
Statewide,
do
okay.
have individuals on every island, but if there's more individuals that you know of that want to get added, just please pass that information on, because the further we can reach out, the better. Our unit is pretty much complaint driven. So a lot of the time, we don't know the information until somebody reports it. So the more eyes that are out there that can report it, hopefully we can get ahead of it before the issue becomes, something that, it's a little bit too far gone.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Okay, next item, C2, oh, C3, for information only. Right.
Aloha, Mike Kako, aloha, commissioners. Happy New Year to all of you. First time I'm seeing you in the new 2026. I have item C2, Russell Kaupu, Office of the Chair. Item C3, sorry, is for information only. If you refer to the submittal, it gives you some history of the permitted interaction group that was formed to investigate geothermal development on Hawaiian homelands. It gives you the date that we created the PIG and some of the, what's been going on since then. Makai Freitas is our chair for the PIG. The other commissioner on that PIG is Commissioner Kalikini, both the Hawaii Island commissioners. The bodies or the members on the PIG is within the discretion of the chair to appoint. And this submittal is informing you that chair is going to put himself on the PIG as the third commissioner. And we welcome chair, certainly his standing and gravitas to move forward on geothermal development. As chair mentioned, geothermal potential has become a big part of what he calls his phase 2 for his homestead development future. So, and we've already been coordinating with chair on a lot of different things, including chair took a trip to New Zealand to visit with some of our Maori friends and cousins who are advising us on how to proceed with indigenous geothermal development. So letting you folks know that chair is now on the PIG, and we look forward to big things. Commissioner Freitas, do you have any words?
Yeah, just real quick, just a comment. I think this is a good step in this process. I think this is where we're at in the process. You know, we've done research, gathered information, I would say over a year or so. I think this is the right step as we progress. I would be remiss not to touch on Auntie Hikoa Inamoto's testimony here about getting beneficiary input, having them part of this process. I just wanted to let her know that that's where we're going to with this. I think this is a step in that direction. I also know Kanoale McDonald, they reached out, and thank you for reaching out to us and trying to be part of the information dialogue in the communities. I really appreciate that. I think any kind of help we can get, we definitely appreciate. And just make a long story short, this is a first step towards those goals that we discussed. And so, but yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I want to mention Drake Lily was here. They also reached out to us to make a presentation this past weekend. And chair is is kind of the tip of the spear on a lot of that effort. So, mahalo.
Okay. Let's see. Thank you. Next item, D1 for information only, HSD reports. Juan.
Good morning once again, commissioners. D1 is for information only on the Homestead Services Division status reports. And you have Exhibit A consisting of the homestead lease and application totals and activity reports, as well as Exhibit B, the delinquency report. I just want to comment on the numbers with respect to the application and lease count as we continue to modernize. We continue to work with our vendor with respect to the accuracy of the numbers. We are experiencing some discrepancies from our old database to currently Salesforce, but we're making progress. And we're working to make certain that the information provided to you are as accurate as can be, but we're continuing to tweak some issues. The delinquency report, we talked about that earlier. There is that continued downtrend for the delinquency. Staff is adjusting to the changes that the chairman implemented, but we're continuing to make certain that the delinquency continues to go down. We can expect more contested case hearings coming to you to address the delinquency.
Any questions? No. Okay, thanks, Juan.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay, the next item, E6, for information only, updates, lease awards scheduled for January 2026 to June 2026. Kalani Franda.
Aloha, Commissioners, and Chair Watson. Once again, Kalani Franda for the record, Acting Administrator with the Land Development Division. I have two items for information purposes, E6 and E7. We'll start off with E6 in regards to updates for the award schedule. You know, it's important that we also start off with our outcomes and what we've been moving forward and advocating to make sure that we're able to address the wait list. If you could press play on that.
The department offers to our applicants based on their original application fee, and it really varies based upon what list they're on, whether it's residential, agricultural, pastoral. Now, the residential usually comes with turnkey products, right? It comes with a home that is constructed. Families would need to qualify for the price of the home. We also have a vacant lot product, and what that is if the family wants to build a custom home for themselves, then they can decide what they want on that lot. And also the cost of that home will vary based upon their needs. We do also have agricultural. That is meant more for farming. We have subsistence ag, and that is 3 acres and below. So what that does is it's more of a sustenance for the families. We also have a pastoral, which is our larger lots. That's 40 acres or more, and it's meant more for farming. So again, there's a variety of products that we do offer, and then again, it's up to the applicants to determine if that offer best fits their needs. But at this time, again, we only do offers through better, so that's through the postal service. So it's really critical that the families have their addresses, their contact information is up to date with the department. Because what we don't want to happen is if we don't have their current information on file, they will not receive the offer. So they may miss an opportunity. That's something that they've been waiting for, and that will work perfect for their family. So we do have commission meetings. During our commission meetings monthly, there's community meetings. At that time, our staff will share upcoming projects. There's a lot of information that's on our website. We do work with a variety of Native Hawaiian organizations that will assist our families with future offers, like they do financial literacy classes. We also have some agricultural type workshops. So there's a lot of tools and resources that our families have to prepare themselves for upcoming offers. When the letter is sent out, there are offer requirements, if you will. One being submitting your interested form. And let's just take residential turnkey as an example. The other requirement is usually financial qualification. So if they submit their interested form and they submit a financial qualification that is equal or more than the price of the house that are being offered, they'll be invited to the lot selection meeting. Now, at the lot selection meeting, what happens is we rank those that have fulfilled all the requirements of the offer by their original date of application. Some of them have been waiting for many years. And a lot of times the reasons for them deferring is location, right? So maybe they're just not ready to relocate back to Hawaii. But the whole process of leading up to the lot selection meeting is extremely important because that's where you provide them with all the information they need to make the best decision. But the day of lot selection, I mean, the energy in that room is just amazing. I mean, it's hard not to feel all the emotions and all the excitement as staff. But we always try to families just stay in communication with us, attend our commission meetings, check our websites. That way they're prepared for the offers that's coming down the pipeline. Because again, one of the things that we hear from a lot of families is that they missed an opportunity. They missed an opportunity because
So the reason for showing this is we know that beneficiaries have a chance to watch this later on, and also for those that are not able to attend, you can find this on our link on our website. It'll share more about our program and what we're doing, and help us. You know, we want to be able to make sure that your information is current, and we want to make sure that information that's coming up on upcoming opportunities within your areas and on the wait list that you're on, that you will be informed. So I'm going to share with you on the next slide, next one right there. You've seen this, and I want to continue to share this continually. We've been sharing this with legislature. We've been sharing this with communities, that we've encumbered the full 600 million from Act 279 as of December 31st, 2025. And the breakdown looks like this. Roughly about 511.2 million have gone towards infrastructure. And what that does is it really unlocks, and with our relationship and partnerships with the different developers, it's unlocked an opportunity to look at them bringing in approximately $2 billion of developer financing for the vertical development. Part of that 600 million we use towards looking at new acreage, roughly about 550 acres, and utilizing roughly about 6% of the 600 million. And the reason for this is we're looking for lands that was close to infrastructure, that was close to educational facilities, and close to medical facilities, which is very important because we know that it's important for our beneficiaries to have access to these things. So that was a strategic requirement that we needed in order for us to acquire new lands. We've also used roughly about 5%, so that's about 36 million towards financing and beneficiary services. This is really key for us to partner up with 501c3s such as Hawaii Community Assets, Helen Y LLC, etc., to be able to walk with them through this process so they can not only get prepared for what it's like to purchase a home and what they need, but also in areas where they need financial literacy. So this spend was really important for us as well. Next, as of 12/31/2025, we spent roughly about 120 million. The next slide will show you that over the past 100 years, we've issued out 10,000 leases, which is roughly about 100 leases per year. We're making a very bold effort, and the hope is doing roughly about 7,000 project leases and being able to fulfill that. One of the things that Chair Watson had mentioned was we have roughly about 2,500 lots that we're going to complete with the funding that we had from the 600 million. So we need additional monies for the phase 2 portion of it. There are opportunities that are out there that we're working and having discussions with the legislature. So as you hear some of these bills come forward, please support and advocate on behalf of it. One of them that you will see is a conveyance bill that's being drafted by the State House. And so that is a great opportunity to support not only the phase 2 funding for what we've started in the 28 projects throughout the state. It's also to support projects that we've started some time ago but wasn't able to fund. And some of those areas are places like Lalamilo. We are excited about what's happening. Next slide, please. So this next one just shows you that it's 28 projects throughout the state and about 7,000 units that were 7,000 project leases as well as 7,000 units that we are looking to develop. Next slide, please. As our new approach, we are issuing out project leases, and these leases are specific to the projects. What this does is it helps us be able to work with the beneficiaries to really see what they can afford. We are building now not to build and try to see how we can fit them, our beneficiaries, into these houses. We're building based upon what they can afford. So what we need to do is really work with our 501c3 service providers, helping us be able to work with the beneficiaries and trying to see their financial assessments. In the areas where they need financial literacy and preparation, we're also equipped to do that as well. With these numbers, we're doing a number of different things. We're also working with our developers to find out how they will shape the capital stack, which means the type of financing that they need, but also how they will program the different types of houses and programs that are needed. Because not everybody can afford what's being built. So next slide. So we look at different options and opportunities. Some of them may be able to, because of their credit scores, because of life happening, because of the type of income that they generate, they may be able to just qualify for a rent with option to purchase. The difference, as you've heard before in previous presentations, is that a law was passed that allows for us to separate the land from the vertical, and we can actually issue out leases, project leases right now, to these rent with option to purchase renters. So for those that are already in the programs such as Laiopua, we are in the process of putting that together so they can actually have a lease as well. Instead of waiting 15 years and trying to figure out whether they will have a lease at the end of 15 years. They're going to have something, and that's something that we're working on. Some of them may be able to qualify for turnkey homes. We're building it once again. We're taking a look at ways that we can build houses that can flex. So in the event that later on in life they can build something that's larger, you know, we're working on these pre-approved development plans that will help our beneficiaries, not only now, maybe they can afford something that's 2-bedroom, 2-bath, but eventually be able to build something on that would be 5-bedroom, 3-bath, or even a ADU, or what we call SDUs in the back of that. Self-help housing, some of them may be able to qualify for self-help housing. And so, you know, that's really a great opportunity for us to work with organizations like Habitat for Humanity. As you know, many of the different islands have very active ones. And then some people, you know, not realizing that they think that owner-builder lot is the easiest way to go because they can build it cheaper. It's not necessarily that way. So we've partnered up with organizations like Hawaii Community Lending to walk you through the process to see what you can afford. And one of the biggest hurdles that they have is the construction loan, because it requires a 20% down. And not everybody has that kind of cash. Well, I was talking with Kupuna recently, who took a lot like this and built on it in Nanakuli, and they, out of pocket, they had to come out with 60 grand for the down payment. Not easy to do. I don't know about you guys. I got $6, not 6 grand. But it's, you know, but it's these types of hurdles that in the partnership with Hawaii Community Lending, it's really key for us to walk with our beneficiaries, because not only is the financing onerous, but also the building part of it. How do you project manage? How do you work with these contractors? So organizations like Hawaii Community Lending will walk them through the entire process all the way until they can occupy that house. But we're making sure that they can qualify first to be able to step into this type of program. So whatever program they fit in, we want to make sure that they can be able to get into a house. So those are our housing options. Next slide, please. Wanted to share with you what's coming up in the remainder of this fiscal year. So we had just completed a orientation for Paneava project leases. We recently did a workshop this past Saturday, and one of the reasons for that was a slow movement in the financial assessments. Some of them weren't responding or choosing not to respond, and we really need those numbers and that data if we're going to build something for what they can afford, the type of program that they can go in. So we offer this workshop, and we thank all those that have attended and also all those that were able to turn in their financial assessments before this. It was very helpful as we work with the developers to plan for East Kapolei. Next week, Saturday, or this coming Saturday, we will be headed to Hilo again to offer the orientation for Honomu project leases. That's on January 24th. Next slide, please. These are the projects that are happening. So the Panaeva project is roughly about 400 project leases. The anticipated project development schedule is 2026 to 2031. There's a lot of infrastructure work that needs to take place. And the hope is at the projected occupancy will roughly be around 2031. So there's some time, but it's really important that we issue out the project leases as well as work on our financial assessments. Next slide, please. For Honomu, we have roughly about 50 project leases. The anticipated project development schedule is 2026 through 2031, with a projected occupancy of that subsistence agricultural lots in 2031. Next slide, please. In February, we have two events. The first one is February 7th for Laiopua Lot Awards orientation. And so that's going to be, I'll share with you in a little while what that is. February 28th is the Waipouli Project Lease Awards. Next slide, please. The award selection for Village 4 Hema, 125 lots that we will be building there and awarding. And Village 5 is 55. This area has been an area that was built out some years ago, and these lots have been vacant. So we're not only in the process of awarding them, but also working on the development of that. Projected development schedule is 2026 through 2028, and projected occupancy will start as early as 2026. And just note that for both of those phases, infrastructure has been completed already, so it's a matter of just working on the vertical development. Waipouli Project Lease Awards, 82 that we're going to be issuing out. Projected development schedule is 2026 to 2027, and the projected occupancy will start as early as 2026. Next slide, please. In March 14th, we have the Panaeva Project Lease Awards, and then the week after, in March 21st, is the Honomu Project Lease Awards. Next slide, please. April, I shared with you the projects already. April 18th, Laiopua Village 5 Awards, and April 25th, Laiopua Village 4 Hema. These are two different programs and two different development companies that we're working with, so it's important that we separate this so there's no confusion on it. Next slide. May 2026, May 2nd, we have the Maui Agricultural Project Lease Orientation. I'll share with you a little bit more about that in a little while. May 16th is the West Oahu Project Lease Orientation for Ewa and Nanakuli. Next slide, please. So for Maui, we had mentioned beginning part of this year, we are looking at Pulehu Nui, roughly about 200 project leases that we will be awarding there, and that is for subsistence agricultural lots. Ono Kauai, we have 50 that we will be issuing out there. Projected development schedule is 2028 to 2033. There's a lot of infrastructure work that needs to take place, and that's the reason for that. However, the project occupancy will start midway in 2030. Next slide, please. Ewa Beach and Nanakuli, roughly about 380 project lease awards, and project development could start as early as 2028, lasting to about 2033. project occupancy starts in 2031. Nanakuli has 15. This is an area that we haven't, it's been sitting there for a while, up close to Haleakala area, close to the graveyard, and it's an area that has been vacant, and infrastructure is all around. It's just a matter of just getting it prepped for not only awards, but being able to award lot for single-family home development. Next slide, please. And in June 6th, we have Naiva subsistence agricultural lots and Molokai residential scattered lots orientation. And this is important because we haven't been able to award anything on Molokai most recently, so we're finally getting this prepared and we can share more information. I believe the next slide has what these lots are about. So Naiva has roughly about 20. Holehua scattered lots is about 15. Projected development schedule roughly around 2025 to 2027 with a projected occupancy of 2027. Next slide, please. Other 2026 project leases. Next slide, please. So we are projecting this out. Lihue, we have roughly about 1,000 that we're going to be awarding for area in Lihue, close to Walmart and Wilcox Hospital. Honokaa, we have roughly about 200. East Kapolei 2A and LDA, we have about 1,200. This is an area that's near the rail as well as near golf courses. And so these are going to be more multi-family units that we're looking at. And then we have some Pilina projects that still being worked on in the planning office, but we're hoping that we can look to address project leases for these areas, Kings Landing and Hana. Thank you very much. A lot of work to be done. The other thing that was not on there that we will start to work on the lease-up program is for Halemo Ili Ili, and we'll share that more in months to come. Mahalo.
Any questions, commissioners? Commissioner Kalekini?
Mahalo, Kalani. Very exciting information. Just a quick question. You know, subsistence ag in Pane'eva and subsistence ag at Honolulu Phase 1.
Yes.
I mean, all those lots are available for the lessees to go in and do what they want
So
to.
the Phase 1 for Honolulu, that is, so we've completed the allowing them to access that. So they can access that. We're just working on power to that area. I believe that should be done. If it's not done this month, it should be done very shortly.
So I pass Honolulu often, and the power is in, right? But there's a lot of tourists there, so going to be a very traffic heavy. But I mean, it's a beautiful location. It's awesome, yeah. But thanks for the update.
So it's something that we have been talking with the lessees as well as with the district office of how to keep that secured because of the easy access to general public as well as the tourists, and we want to make sure we protect and preserve the area so it doesn't become a public parking lot.
Yeah, that to me is a huge challenge because when you go up there, there's always parking all alongside both of the roads, way past the entrance to that location. Thanks.
Thank you,
Commissioner. On that one, we've been exploring the possible transfer of lands to the department, not only to do additional homesteading development. We're also looking at economic opportunities for our beneficiaries. So there has been some discussion regarding transferring some of those lands, because you're right, there's a lot of tourists that frequent the area. So I'm sure that might create an opportunity for our beneficiaries to kind of capitalize on that. And I'm not sure, but I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
No, I would wholeheartedly support beneficiaries, doing that as economic development, helping out our. My understanding, Kalani, is there's one or two lots right at the entrance that are zoned commercial, right?
And you mean in the phase one or?
Phase
the-
one. I thought the first one or two right there on the entrance.
I believe it is.
So what's our plans with like getting that going?
So
Is
I
that-
need to have a conversation with the planning office on some of the
With
things that
planning.
we're looking at.
Okay. That would be good if we could, next time we update, if we could include that.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions?
Just a comment. Kalani, thanks so much for the presentation. Getting that word out to our beneficiaries, the people who are waiting on the lists and the people who've already gotten their project leases or whatever, it's an assurance that we're moving forward. The opportunity to communicate with our beneficiaries is critical to the success of our program and the support that we need in order to move forward. So the presentation represents a lot of work, not only on your part, but the part of your staff. And thank you for the essential information that you present, not just to us, but to everybody who can see how fast we're moving forward. It's been 105 years, 6 years now, but you know, we're moving at a very good speed. So thank you very much for the presentation.
Let me also add that, you know, we are moving. That's primarily because of the 600 million and some of the acquisitions. But, you know, it's an ongoing process that takes a lot of money, and which we don't have. So that's why we have to get creative, looking at bonding, tax credits, using some of the HHFDC money as well as foundations. But we also, I think, in a very good position at the legislature this coming session to access some permanent financing in the form of, you know, the conveyance tax on especially expensive properties that are not being taxed as much. So these are typically non-locals that are, I view that as partly speculating and trying to make money off our resources here in Hawaii. And so we're trying to tap into that. And I think if we can get, I know the House, that's kind of like part of their major agenda moving forward to support the department. We are working with the Senate. They seem somewhat supportive, but we got to work on that portion too. But it's, all these plans are great, but they're just plans unless we can get the money. So I do hope that, especially people out there in the audience that are listening, as well as you commissioners, if you get the opportunity, do please talk to your legislators from your district, and you know, kind of, we can provide you with handouts and all kind of information that orients them, and we're doing that right now, going to all the legislators and showing them, you know, all these different projects we have that are so dependent upon this funding. But it's important that everybody kind of collectively work and support the initiative. Okay.
Chair, if I could just say, you know, this wouldn't be possible, and thank you, Commissioner, for mentioning not only staff, but also the partners that we partner up with. So the service providers, the developers, the associations, et cetera. A lot of them, not only are they contributing, not only in supporting us, but also advocating for us. So this is really key in helping this program move forward on an accelerated process. So without that pilino, you know, it's very difficult. We can't do it by ourselves. It really requires a lot of work and collaboration. Thank you very much.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Kalani. Okay, next item, let's see. E7, for information only, the draft environmental assessment for the Ho'olehua scattered lots.
Hi, good morning, Chair.
Yep.
Commissioners, Robert Ng, Project Manager for Molokai.
Aloha kako. Commissioners, Nancy McPherson, Planning Office, Land Use Environmental Planner for the island of Molokai. And this is a joint submittal, actually, with LDD and the Planning Office. Yeah, next slide, please. This is a draft environmental assessment, anticipated finding of no significant impact for the Ho'olehua Scatter Lot subdivision project, which was just mentioned in the previous submittal by Administrator Fronda. And just wanted to talk briefly, Lily Makaila is our mana wahine on Chapter 343 compliance. And just to remind ourselves, the staff, as well as the commissioners, about our kuleana. It's an environmental disclosure document, and in this case, an environmental assessment was indicated. We're not asking you to take action today. We're just updating you on this draft EA and next steps. The Hawaiian Homes Commission is the accepting authority for environmental review documents for proposed actions on Hawaiian homelands. And your kuleana is to, based on the information presented in the document, to issue a determination or finding of whether the proposed action will or will not have a significant impact. There's 13 significance criteria, which we have later on in the presentation. It's the staff's kuleana to oversee the preparation of this document and technical studies and bring it to you for information and ultimately for a determination. Your kuleana is to question the quality of the document and the work to ensure that the disclosure document is adequate in terms of Chapter 343. So as staff, we invite your questions, critiques, and concerns. It's a necessary check and balance in the project development process. Next slide, please. So today we're going to provide you with information on the draft environmental assessment. That's Exhibit A, project schedule, and next steps for the Ho'olehua Scatter Lot subdivision project. We also want to provide you an opportunity, as well as beneficiaries, to ask questions about the draft EA and provide comments. Next slide. Okay, there we go. An update on the project was last brought to the Commission in April 2023. Subsequently, there was an 18-month gap. There was changes in staff, and then there may have been a misunderstanding about the importance of bringing the draft EA to the Commission for your information. So it was published in the environmental notice in October 2024. Normally, we try to bring it to you at the time of publication or just before. So the Ho'olehua Pala'au lands are over 13,000 acres. It's one of the bigger tracts in the trust. It's about 53% of all Hawaiian homelands on Molokai. It varies in topography. There's level areas, there's rolling hills, some amazing sea cliffs at the northern boundary. There's some gulches that bisect the eastern section, and Anahaki Gulch bisects the northwest section. The Molokai Island Plan was last updated in 2005, and it designated multiple areas in Ho'olehua for future subdivision into subsistence agriculture lots. Next slide, please. Ho'olehua Pala'au, Apana 1 and 2. This is the preferred land use alternatives plan. And during the Molokai Island Plan update process, Ho'olehua lessees supported the idea of subdivision of large lots selectively to provide homesteading opportunities for their children and grandchildren. And so this project is consistent with the Molokai Island Plan. And I'd like to pass the presentation off to Robert in Land Development Division.
Thank you. Next slide, please. Okay, so as you can see, there are 5 TMK parcels that we are subdividing into 12 subsistence ag lots. Can you, next slide, please. Yeah, so if you notice, there's a lot of different shaped lots with different acreages. The engineer tried to be as fair as possible to each of the beneficiaries. What you don't see are the topo maps that show slopes and gulches and drainage areas that make the land unsuitable for agricultural activity conventionally. So, but the lots generally offer the same amount of usable ag land. If you look on the right, you see a 12.8 acre lot. I would say at least half of that is occupied by a gulch that's not usable, so it might seem unfair on the surface, but that's how the lots were carved out to be as fair as possible. On the very top of on the right side, you see a 1 acre lot that's carved out. And the reason for that is there is a house that was built in 2001. And, you know, we have a consultant going out there to assess the value and the condition of that house, whether it's a tear down or if it's salvageable. That 1 acre lot is still subject to modification that was carved out simply because of that house. But if that house is going to be torn down, then, you know, I'll have the engineer take a look and see if, you know, that it would be fair and equitable to modify that lot a little to be more on par with the other lots. But so far, right now, that's where it's at in terms of the design. There are potable water lines fronting these lots, as well as the Molokai irrigation system. There's still some discussion to be had on assisting in the lateral, water laterals. I know that some of the lots require rather lengthy laterals, and so it's up to the department to decide the extent of the assistance that we're going to offer. The lots would help to address the need for subsistence agricultural lease opportunities for beneficiaries. And again, like Nancy said, it's consistent with the Molokai Island Plan. Next slide, please. Okay. So again, it just basically repeats the 5 parcels being subdivided into 12. The tax map key parcels are noted. Next slide, please. Okay, so along with roadway improvements fronting the lots to provide street access, there's also going to be driveways. If you recall, the shape of some of these lots kind of require lengthy driveways to reach the lots. Let's see. Infrastructure improvements, again, for each lot include potable water and Molokai irrigation connections and drainage. There will be drainage improvements along with the road improvements fronting the lots and electrical services. Project scope also include the demolition of an abandoned home and cesspool on parcel 14, demolition of an old greenhouse on parcel 16, and assessment of a home on parcel 3, which I spoke about earlier. It's kind of sitting on actually in between 2 parcels. So parcel 3 and parcel 16, that's the house that we're assessing for salvaging or removal. Next slide, please. 7 of the lots will be 3 acres or less and will be leased as subsistence agricultural lots. Beneficiaries may live on and farm lots on a smaller scale per the DHHL General Plan 2022. 5 of the lots will be larger than 3 acres and will be designated and leased as supplemental agricultural lots. Beneficiaries will utilize parcels for agricultural production to supplement income and for home use with an approved farm plan as required per the DHHL General Plan and administrative rules. The lots are unleased and currently vacant, with the exception of several abandoned structures, again, on the 3 parcels that I mentioned earlier. Next slide, please. If beneficiaries choose to build a home on the lot, an individual wastewater system approved by the State Department of Health would be needed. Going off script here, there are at least 2 cesspools on the lots that need to be removed, and we're working on that. Potable water improvements will be constructed to the lots for use in the home if one is built. Agricultural water improvements will be constructed for farm use. Next slide, please. Okay, so the potable water for the 12 lots will be through the Ho'olehua water system, owned and operated by DHHL. Water for the Ho'olehua system is supplied by the Kualapu'u Aquifer via 2 wells, and Kauluai, you have to excuse my Hawaiian. New waters will be provided for each of the lots as needed. Okay. As for agricultural water, for the 12 lots will be provided by the State Department of Ag, currently running the Molokai irrigation system. There are existing connections to the MIS in the roadways, Mo'omomi Avenue, Farrington Avenue, and Pu'ukapele Avenue, fronting the parcels. The MIS connections will be installed for each lot if needed, and the MIS has a capacity to serve the 12 lots. Next slide, please. Okay, so, yes, thank you. We're lucky to have today our consultants, Monekio, Hiraga, and Associates, and we have Carlin Fukuda and Patrick McCormick, but I believe Carlin will be speaking on the technical aspects of this EA. So, Carlin?
Mahalo,
get ready to get her
Robert.
on the-
Oh, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Mahalo, Robert, and aloha, Chair and members of the Hawaiian Homes Commission. My name is Carlin Fukuda of Munikio Hiraga. Our office was contracted to prepare and process the Chapter 343 EA for the Ho'olehua Scattered Lots project. We note that the reason for the EA document being required is because there is the use of state lands and funds, which is one of the triggers for Chapter 343 environmental review. We do note that there were a variety of technical studies that were completed to support the draft or the environmental assessment document, which included archaeology and cultural. And in relation to the cultural impact assessment, there is a kapa'akai analysis that is currently in progress. There's a preliminary engineering and drainage report, a biological resources survey, as well as a hazardous materials survey that was done for the homes that are proposed to be demolished. Next slide, please. So a variety of federal, state, and county agencies were invited to review the draft EA and provide comments. As Nancy mentioned, the draft EA was published. The anticipated finding of no significant impact was published in October of 2024. And so we have received comments from various agencies, including those listed here, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the State Department of Transportation, the County Department of Water Supply, as well as the State Office of Planning and Sustainable Development. And so the next steps in the process, which we'll get into a little bit more towards the end of the presentation as far as timeline, but there is a draft of the final EA that is being prepared for the project. The finding of no significant impact or FONSI determination will be requested from the Commission. The final EA will include responses to agencies and beneficiary comments received, as well as the completed kapa'akai analysis. And the draft final EA and FONSI determination request will be scheduled for a future Commission meeting agenda. Next slide, please. I won't go through the 13 Chapter 343 significance criteria items that are noted here, but I will note that the draft EA did include a review of all of the 13 criteria and helped to support the anticipated finding of no significant impact determination for the draft EA. Next slide, please. What's shown on this slide here are the topic areas that were included in the draft EA document for review as part of the significance criteria that was previously shown on the slide. Again, the technical studies were prepared for the project to help provide information for project-specific detail relative to the project as well as the proposed project location. So we have information relative to geology and topography, drainage, air quality, biological environment, historic and architectural resources, cultural resources, socioeconomic conditions, etc. In the next few slides, we'll get into a little bit more detail about these various topic areas and the mitigation measures that, again, we're committed to in order to support the anticipated finding of no significant impact. Next slide, please. So we'll start first with geology, topography, soils, and drainage. We note that there would be short-term impacts related to the clearing, grading, and grubbing, for the lots. And the mitigation measures that would be needed include erosion and sediment control, and best management practices to minimize soil loss and erosion. There was also a culvert that was recommended at Farrington Avenue and Anahaki Gulch, and that will be installed. Relative to streams and wetlands, there was no work that was being proposed within any streambed or wetland. However, a National Pollutant Discharge Elimination Systems Permit, or NPDS permit, will be obtained from the State Department of Health prior to start of construction. With regards to flora and fauna, the study found that there are mostly non-native species and there was not suitable habitat for water birds or endangered seabirds within the project area. And so avoidance and mitigation measures that were recommended by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service as well as the Division of Forestry and Wildlife will be implemented to prevent potential harm to any threatened or endangered species that may cross or, travel through the project area. Next slide, please. With regards to archaeology and historical resources, there was a archaeological literature review and field investigation for the project that was submitted to SHPD for review, and initial comments were no historic properties would be affected. As regards to cultural resources, which is related, as we noted, there was a cultural impact assessment report that was completed for the project, and a complementary, if you will, supplemental Kapa'akai analysis report is being prepared and will be included in the draft final EA for review. With regards to wildfire hazards, there are hazard mitigation measures such as vegetation control, planting of drought-tolerant, fire-resistant plants away from power lines that would be incorporated into the project to improve or reduce, I should say, risk of damage to life, property, and natural resources. With regards to infrastructure, so there are roadway improvements proposed for the project to pave the roadways leading to the proposed lots. And again, mitigation measures include incorporating best management practices to reduce the potential for soil loss and erosion, and the culvert at the Farrington Avenue Anahaki Gulch crossing is going to be installed. Robert has already touched upon regarding the potable water and the agricultural water, and so those infrastructural improvements will be completed in order to service the new lots. With regards to wastewater, as was previously noted, any lessee who plans to, or beneficiary who plans to build a home on one of the lots, they will need to install an individual wastewater system that meets Department of Health standards. Next slide. So in addition to the Chapter 343 environmental assessment, there are some additional permits and approvals that would be required in order for the project to proceed, which includes the Chapter 6E Historic Preservation Review, which is being undertaken concurrently with SHPD. And then there is the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System permit that would be required from Department of Health, and that would be at the time of preparing for construction improvements. And then following the issuance of leases to beneficiaries, it would be the IWS approval from the Department of Health if a beneficiary plans to build a residence on the property, as well as irrigation water application and plan review. And then from the County of Maui, there would be subdivision and lot consolidation actions that would need to be completed, as well as electrical and grading and grubbing permits that would need to be secured. Next slide. So in summary, the proposed project is not anticipated to have a significant impact on the surrounding environment. The project will implement mitigation measures, including best management practices, biological control measures, as well as cultural and archaeological monitoring. The project will provide the infrastructure necessary to support the subsistence and supplemental agricultural land uses. And the project provides subsistent and supplemental agricultural opportunities consistent with the DHHL general plan as well as the Molokai Island plan. We will be available to answer any questions that you may have, but at this time, I'll turn the presentation back over to Robert. Mahalo.
Thank you, Carlin. Appreciate it. Do we have any questions for Nikio?
Yes, I have a question, Chair.
Commissioner Lesueur?
In regards to the wastewater treatment for Molokai, is it, I know it might be a Department of Health answer, but I know that the lower area was trying to stay away from cesspool and go towards septic tank. So in a higher area, in like Ho'olehua, would they be required to use septic only, or would they be able to use cesspool as well?
Yeah, I believe cesspools are universally being taken out of use statewide.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
It's only needed if they're gonna put a house on it. They're just gonna farm it, especially a subsistence ag, then they don't need to install it.
Okay, for this last slide, we just want to go over the timeline. Again, the draft EA was published in October 2024. We did hold a beneficiary informational meeting on November 12th, 2025. We did get some comments at that meeting, but was generally supportive, and our beneficiaries just asked us good questions, as they always do. And so we'll make sure that the information they're requesting is provided in the final EA. And then what we're doing right now is the consultants are preparing the final EA, hopefully to bring it back to you next month. That's tentative, but hopefully at your February meeting. And then subsequently, depending on any additional comments that are received, that will be published in March 2026, April at the latest. Construction plans are ongoing, and as you saw, there's an aggressive schedule to get all of these projects implemented. So there was a slight delay, 18-month delay earlier, and we're kind of catching up now, so.
Thank you, Nancy. Yeah, the project is being prepared for NAHASDA funding as well, so that required additional studies. As far as the timing, the development of this project, we are hopeful that we will be able to get a subdivision application and permit application in process by this summer. And hopefully, as things, and it's subject to, what we've, taking out the cesspools that are there and taking out the structures that are on the site, hopefully we'll be able to go out to bid by the fourth quarter of this year for the construction. So, anyone have any other questions?
Yeah, I have another question regarding the EEA in regards to the MIS. Recently, there was a break in a pipe up there, so I just wanted to make sure that that was recognized and whether the, who handles that, Department of Ag, if the pipes that is there now in existence, was that old pipes or what's causing the problem? And so future homesteaders may not have that same problem where most of the homesteaders up there was without water because of the break in that one line. So I just wanted to make sure that, they're satisfied.
So we're in, I know Chair Watson is going to mention on this. So we are exploring taking a look at the MIS and having those early conversations with the Department of Ag. So we actually got to go through kind of some due diligence to really understand what's happening right now, what are some of the issues, what are the carrying costs and carrying capacity for that. But what the advantage would give the beneficiaries is that our ag lands right now are being supported by potable water. And so with the MIS, it actually will free that capacity.
Yeah, so right now we're kind of seeking some funding and actually we're doing it in-house, doing an assessment of what it would take, what it would cost to fix up the MIS. Because there is some problems. That recent break, they spent quite a bit of money, the Department of Ag, in fixing it. So we don't want to just jump in, take it over, and then we got a whole nest of problems with it. The DOA is receptive to us taking it over, and the operational revenue actually is in a positive. So they're actually using the excess funds to support and maintain some of the other water systems off island. So I think there's some possibilities that we could take it, but until we know the full extent of the cost to fix it and bring it up to standard. So we've been working with Senator DeCoit, and she's also supportive, so maybe she'll be able to throw some money in to do an assessment, at least initially, and then maybe after that we can go after some money for, because I anticipate it is going to cost at least over 20 million, maybe more.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? If not, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item, F5, for information only, presentation by Waimea Nui Community Development.
Aloha once again. For the record, this is Frank Hall, the Administrator for the Land Management Division. This item is a for information only item. Excuse me. As you mentioned, we have a presentation by the Waimea Nui Community Development Corporation on the proposed cemetery parcel for Kapu, Hawaii Island. And to present this item, we have Mike Hudson.
Okay. Good morning, Mike.
Morning. This is for cross-reference information as I present the PowerPoint. If you want to short, I get Mahalo nui, Commission. Mahalo. Okay. Glasses go on. Hanging by my nose just like you, Kali. Okay. I know recording it. Okay. I was tasked with working with Linda. For those of you guys aware of our project, it's been going on since 2013. And so I was tasked with figuring out how the Department of Hawaiian Homes can build a cemetery and the process of Homestead Cemetery. And it was quite amazing. It took me about 3 months as a past investigator, calling everybody and their uncle and every agency. And so I was tasked by our Homestead As we started developing through our master plan, and consultation of the beginning of the Kuli Canoe program, the cemetery was the biggest issue in our homestead. And so this came from our cemetery division of our homestead that identified that, we ran out of space in Waimea in a county cemetery, it's a small little, less than a quarter acre. And so right now our kupunas are being cremated and kind of have no choice at the point right now. So that's how this process began. Next slide. 2. Next slide. Okay, so working with Linda, we realized that we never have policies and procedures or process whereby the Department of Hawaiian Homes can issue out land for a cemetery. And so I worked with Linda and Kahana on investigating and trying to figure out what is the process. So I found that the biggest venture in my investigation was building a capacity of the Homestead Division, in our particular situation, the Homestead Division. And I think we've done that with the Kuli Canoe program. And I think that was one of the main objectives of the Kuli Canoe program, was that the Homestead Association be a membership with the development of a community development corporation that could handle ventures such as this. It's difficult at the membership level, but if they could focus on Kuleana, one specific committee that focused on Kuleana, which is what the Kuli Canoe program was, creating a community development corporation, then now you have a task. In the case of our community development corporation, we have experts in project management, site work, infrastructure development, building. So we have the necessary expertise to understand the process. And so next step was, okay, how can we do it? And so typically on fee simple lands, there's all kinds of requirements on fee simple lands, right? Next slide. Besides HRS 441 and Title 11 with the Department of Health, we first had to identify how does this apply to us. So the 3 definitions here of a cemetery, a mortuary, and a morgue. We're just dealing with a cemetery at this point in time. Future, maybe, but right now just a cemetery. We got to get our hands on that. A lot of people don't understand this. Those are 3 different types of entities. Okay, next. So dealing with DCCA, Department of Health, Bureau of Conveyance, Department of Land and Natural Resources, Clean Water Branch. There's a lot of state agencies involved in creating one cemetery. Makes sense why Hawaiian Homes never did them before. Because you got to understand this. I talked to every one of the directors in these agencies. They don't apply to Hawaiian Homes. Hawaiian Homelands is exempt from this. And there's a reason why Hawaiian Homes is exempt from it. We're gonna come over it. We're gonna kind of go over it a little bit. One of the main reasons is that no fee. You cannot buy one burial plot on Hawaiian Homelands. It's federal trust lands. And it's because no fee, and you cannot buy one plot, all these regulatory processes doesn't apply. So pretty amazing. Next slide. So these are some of the assignments or who handles what. Like, for example, on the bottom, DCCA handles licensing. And why licensing? Because people depositing money, they're handling people's money. So they got to open a trust account. They got to be licensed. But it's almost like one investment account. So they got to be licensed through the state DCCA. That's not going to happen on Hawaiian Homelands. There's no trust accounts. You're not buying one plot and depositing your money. County councils handle cemeteries typically that the county runs. In the case of Hawaii County runs, I believe, 33 different cemeteries that they set aside lands. So through the through their Parks and Recreation, they run their own process of cemeteries on a county's designated lands. As I mentioned, DLNR Shipty. Shipty has to do with burial sites over 50 years old. Any place that they find on burial that appears to be over 50 years old, then State Historic Preservation gets involved. Not necessarily in building a cemetery. Basically EPA deals with offshore burials or offshore disposal of ashes. That's where the Environmental Protection Agency comes in. Next slide. As I mentioned, why we exempt. So a typical cemetery is operated as what they call a pre-need, which is a business. Government lands are exempt from this process because you cannot sell the government lands. So the issue that we is dealing with having a conditional general lease for our lands, which is already designated as a cemetery parcel, part of the environmental assessment, we already went through the tree-for-tree process and everything, is that only the landowner can designate a parcel as a cemetery. So we can't get the general lease, even though we have a general lease. We cannot designate them as a cemetery. Only the department, only the commission can designate it as a cemetery. So that land, we got to give it back and take it back in a different way. And working with Linda and Kahana, we realized that it was a license. We got to get on license to operate that land. Next. So this is the Department of Health Title 11. So the Department of Health creates regulations on cemeteries. Basically the stuff that you got to do. If you're going to be on cemetery, you follow these rules. Department of Health doesn't apply to Wino lands other than the burial permit. So the department has to create their own rules and regulations. Well, you don't have to recreate them. You can just follow the Department of Health rules and just change the director of the Department of Health to the Wino's Commission. All this is part of the regulation. So when we're looking at a cemetery authority, which is we'll get into, they create these rules and regulations. Next. So an overview. One cemetery authority has these responsibilities by rules, and so they don't come out and check if you're doing them. You provide those rules, and the authority agency is not the Department of Health, but the Wino's Commission. In this case, True Land Management. So in order to get one cemetery going, that the entity asking for the cemetery has to create these rules and these policies and procedures on how they're going to operate it. And typically based off the Department of Health state rules, we only recreate the wheel. And proving to the commission and proving to the department that these are the rules and stuff that we're following. So it's a simple thing like burial. So most people say that, you got to dig the grave 6 feet deep. That is not law, and that's not even a rule. The rule is you have to put the burial deep enough so that animals don't come and dig them up. It doesn't say 6 feet, but that's kind of the standard practice. So there's difference between standard practices and rules. So identifying those kind of things. Next slide. These are some of the topics that one cemetery authority got to deal with. Gravesite management, public health, how they're going to maintain decorations, disinterment. If somebody said they dig them up and take them to California or something like that. Next. Record keeping, financial integrity, dispute resolution. I got to touch on this record keeping. It's really strict with record keeping through the Department of Health. Date people die, you got to put the application in and everything. And then the cemetery is supposed to have markings and one registered, so you can go to the cemetery. They say, okay, I'm looking for my mom. And they're going to tell you, you got to go to plot 6, C5, and that's where it is. And that should be checked up by the department on a regular basis, at least on a yearly basis. But I'm going to give you a quick scenario. My mother-in-law died in 1998, and we buried at the Waimea County Cemetery. Then my father-in-law, Woody, died 2 years ago. And back in '98, we got permission from the county to dig the hole 8 feet deep for a double burial. So their rules says that if you're gonna do a double burial, you go to 8 feet. So at 8 feet, build a cement casket and put her casket in this cement box. And then so 24, 5 years later, we call them to basically bury my father-in-law, and they never have our records. They never have the records of the thing being 8 feet deep. I says, where's the records? You guys know where my mother-in-law is buried, right? I mean, I know, I buried her. And they never have the records. So here we are, 27 years later, this record keeping, the county don't even keep their own records. So it's kind of intriguing that the government create rules and regulations and they don't even follow their own stuff. I mean, I'm sure that's not unheard of, but, you know, just a side note. Financial integrity. We're not dealing that much with that because we're not selling plots. We're not holding people's money. So that's not something that any homestead association that decided to do in cemetery needs to be considered about, because you're not going to take on deposit because you're not buying one plot.
Mike,
Go ahead.
you know, in the record keeping, you know, the example you gave is very obvious that the records need to be kept
Yes.
in a accessible type situation. So how are you guys proposing? You're not putting on the department to keep all these records?
No, so we visited numerous cemeteries all over the states and looking at the programs that they use on record keeping and how you can find it online. So the county has that. So when I go on the county website, go online to Waimea Cemetery to go look up where my mother-in-law is, never updated in 30 years. So it's required personnel to update it and personnel to input, right? Just like anything else, somebody got to input the information. So you got to have on staff to do that.
So you guys are going to do that, or we?
No, we're going to do, yeah.
You're going to do it?
Yeah, that's not your kuleana. That's not the department's kuleana. That's the
Well-
beneficiary organizations.
But I'm also thinking that maybe some of the other homestead associations might want to get into the business. I wouldn't call it business.
Yeah, not profitable.
Yeah, well, it's not profitable, but, well, not really. I mean, there's other parts of that business that could become profitable. But,
Yeah.
you know, we need to really talk about that. because
Yes.
I don't want it just for you guys. We've got to think
No,
about that
and
association.
that's why I'm doing this
Yeah.
investigation, because I looked at the whole of the Department of Hawaiian Homelands throughout the state, every island. This investigation is not just for us. This investigation is for every homestead, because this is what they gotta be aware of as they're going forward. Okay, next. So these are internment rules. It's basically, the kind of rules that you gotta create as a cemetery authority. Casket opening, next. Visitor rules, employee rules, things that do's and don'ts. These are some of the areas that is covered in typical cemeteries. Next one. So what we're looking at is going after one license. And so working with Linda and Kahana over the past months, seems like years, understanding the right instrument for one homestead to acquire some kind of land instrument to do in cemetery. We believe that the rightful thing is a license to manage, construct, development, operate, maintain the place. And so that's kind of, are we looking at our next steps? So we created on DBA already, actually, it's a separate division, separate nonprofit, Kulaiiwi Holoholoku. And that's an important name for us. If you guys familiar with Waimea, I know some of you guys familiar with our property, that when you go to the back corner of our property next to the airport, if you look out, you get Holoholoku, the hill Holoholoku. Between our cemetery property, and the reason why we designated that area as cemetery, between that and Holoholoku, there's a lot of caves in there, and there's thousands and thousands of iwi of our ancestors in those caves. And we know that because our culture division interned many of the iwi that came from the mainland back into those caves. So there's a reason why that name came up, because that's where all our kupuna there anyway. Next. So this is that parcel that we're talking about. You can see the cemetery up on the upper left. This is the potential uses of the property. I believe Coco came in last year to take the 7-acre parcel that we designed for our health center. So we're working at every stage, right? Cemetery is our priority, and our priority because our members made that the priority by far. There's not even a close second. So that's the parcel, 161 acres. We should, by the end of this year, we should be finished with the development of 2 miles of paved road and all the infrastructure, water, telephone, electric, cable, ag water. All the infrastructure should be up in place. Funding is already funded. Next. That's another view of the parcel. So we did the internal subdivision through surveying, land surveyor, and got all the meets and bounds, presented that and gave that back to land management. Next one. Just different views of the parcel. That parcel is 10 acres. Next one. Just like I said, different views and understanding how the thing lays out. Okay, I think you have one more. So this is our conceptual plan to our cemetery off of that parcel. So I kept zooming into that parcel because this is our conceptual plan. And when Cully mentioned a little bit about there's ways of making money, yeah, there is. One crematory, a morgue, holding, like right now the county is in kind of dire straits for a morgue. So if we can create a morgue and have the capacity, we can hold all the bodies on behalf of the county through on contract. Obviously crematories, you have the right personnel to handle something like that. And I'm familiar with, I have two good friends that ran a crematory for over 10 years. So I understand the process of the crematory. So you get burial sites, a chapel hall, some urns, enclosed buildings for urns, and then like a maintenance place. So that is how we see the potential of building out what we're doing. So I squeezed in what we're doing with my investigation. Okay, I think I did it.
Okay, any questions? Commissioner Lasua?
Yeah, Frank, in regards to the cemeteries, like Molokai, for instance, which is run by the county now.
One.
But prior to that, it wasn't, it's just a small area, so, and then the county, anybody can be buried there. However, it's still Department of Hawaiian Homelands. So what happens there?
So it's kind of interesting when you bring up Molokai. So I went to both cemeteries in my investigative process. So the Molokai Cemetery run by the county, that's been in existence since the late 1800s. So that's pre the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act. So the county that operated that cemetery was a federal county under the territory. So it was, like I said, pre-Hawaiian Homes. You go look the graves, you can see them 1898, 1900. So that one, the reason why I went to the county, so the federal counties were, I don't know how that slipped through the process, but during statehood, the federal government, through the Department of Interior, ceded lands to the state. Well, every county had lands, federal counties had lands. And the lands that those counties, federal counties, operated off of was transitioned to state counties, political subdivisions, and the land that was operating as a federal was ceded to them. So it wasn't ceded by the state, it was ceded by the federal government, the county lands. So that's one of the lands that the county was operating back then. So how that land ended up in Hawaiian Homes, that's kind of curious to me. And I guess they missed that, or under the federal government, they kind of controlled everything back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. The other cemetery is, you go and volunteer over there, there's entire families in that cemetery, Kabating. So I talked to him, had a long conversation with the elderly man. I mentioned his name, right? Kabating? Richard Kabating. So I spoke with him for about 3 hours. And what he does there, there's a point of time that the department provided him technical assistance and some funding. I think it was from like developing a water source. Never had water up there. So I think the department contracted somebody to help him build a water system, put in water and all that. But that contract has since non-existent, and that entire cemetery is taken care of by Richard.
Right.
Free.
Right.
He kokua that, one native Hawaiian took the kuleana of his ancestors. I mean, I know Molokai know a lot of people, but get a lot of Hawaiians, so that. And as far as Nanakuli too was pre-statehood. So since the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act and since statehood, the department has never issued cemetery.
And the other one is up in Ho'olihua. That's
Yeah.
the third one.
Yeah.
Now, based on those three, I was told that the homesteaders had choice as to where they can be buried and how many of the plots reserved. So that was the first time I ever heard that. But anyway, I just have to, it was a news to me that they could reserve a plot on the area. And
You Molokai boy.
So
And I've been to Molokai. All the families in
I'm not
Molokai.
sure how that works, or even
Yeah.
how the DHHL,
Most of our ohana is not on the cemetery. Most of our ohana is on our family lands.
yeah.
Throughout the whole Molokai. We
Yeah,
went to every single one of them.
On Molokai, especially Kalamaula, there's family buried on the lots, yeah. I know
Oh, yeah.
that.
Practically, I would say more than 50% of our ohana is not on, it's on their family lands. Yeah.
Okay, thank
So-
you.
So Mike, how would you handle that? Who gets to bury their family member? I mean, that's a tough and emotional process, but how would you determine?
Yeah, isn't that a tough situation? We've been debating that for now about 8 years. And I kind of wrote down some of the issues when those debates come up, what we call dispute resolutions, right? So typically when dispute resolution in one cemetery is going to be based on money, right? Most disputes is money related. This is not money related. In Hawaiian Homes, that's going to be money related. It's going to be, so this, through all our meetings, numerous meetings that we talk about, so this is some of the stuff that come up. Who can be buried there? That's one dispute. Well, not only is the type of headstone or on crypts, some guys like crypts, but who will maintain the damn place? That's the mentality, right? Non-Hawaiian spouse, that's a big issue. Hawaiians from other districts or outside the state that claim that they're from Waimea or from that district, and then non-Hawaiians. So those are important issues. I think those are important issues that as we work out the rules and regulations with land management and with the commission, we got to figure that out and we got to solidify that. There's no correct answer. We got to figure it out, and then so that it'll be uniformly addressed if other homesteads decide to do cemeteries. And we 10 years into this thing, right? You've seen the time. We 10 years into this thing. So some of the disputes that we considering.
Well, it sounds like you guys are discussing it, but do you guys have a plan moving forward?
We created rules and regulations on addressing these issues, but it hasn't been solidified by the membership. So every division, in our case, our cemetery division, they're required to create these rules and regulations, but it has to be approved by the membership. So they have to present it to the membership of the homestead to get that approved, that this is the wishes of our people. Then we come back to the Land Management and Hawaiian Homes Commission to give you our findings of why we chose what we chose, the reasoning behind it. So we're close, though. We're close. It's just that I'm not presenting them today because our membership never approved them.
Sure. Real quick.
Commissioner Freitas?
Couple comments, couple questions. I think this is a good thing. I think this is something that is needed. The cost, sadly, death is something that it's inevitable. A lot of times it comes without warning. This happens more deaths than not, or unprepared for. And on top of the emotional stress, you realize the financial stress that's attached to that emotional stress, and it's overwhelming. It's overbearing for a lot. I've been there myself. To have this in place, I think, is a great thing. I think the opportunity to be buried in a special place with your family is also special. The dispute resolutions, and I know you can't have a roadmap for every single one because
Yeah.
it's a case-by-case
Oh, my
issue.
God.
And we'd be here, from a short meeting, it'd go to a very, very long meeting if we were to tackle every single potential, I guess, problem. For just me on outside looking in, I know you guys have the capacity to solve a lot of problems. You guys can handle a lot of things in-house. I think I'd rather delegate those to you, if that's you guys, Kuleana. Just kind of from my bird's eye view looking at this, it is slightly expensive, and I know, Chair and yourself talked about some potential profit things happening with the crematorium as well as with, the storing of bodies. Do you see, or have you thought about any other kind of financial mechanisms to help this thing going, not just now,
Good
but
question.
into perpetuity? And also understanding that there's certain state entities that don't have Kuleana over this project. And you guys have thought out how to mirror those regulations. How do you foresee the training of staff, training of, that this authority, cemetery authority, just to make sure that they're able to mirror exactly what the standards are? And as standards change in the future, how do you foresee any kind of collaboration between the state entities that might be changing or possibly modifying the regulations? And then how much help do you need from the department side in the future, probably? Sorry, a lot of questions, but I just want to get it all kind of out there.
I'll start from the last one then. So the cemetery authority and the regulations, by mirror matching the Department of Health one, I think that's the best start. I believe my proposal to land management, I added some extra stuff in that I thought was important that wasn't even in the Department of Health one on their rules and regulations and managing. And then I think that as time goes on, that goes. And as I mentioned earlier, that all these entities don't have jurisdiction or that authority doesn't apply to Hawaiian Homes. This is the authority right here, So, and I believe if the state changes in their rules and regulations, then it behooves the department to be aware of that and say, maybe we need to change our rules and regulations because those rules and regulations don't apply, so we got to create our own right here in Hawaiian Homes. So I think addressing that's probably the process. As far as economics that's my baby. I mean, you can't do nothing without 2 nickels, right? You got to have money for do something, and that's the process. If you don't have money, you cannot do nothing. It's the reason why in the rehabilitation defined in 42 CFR 47 and 48 identified the rehabilitation, that fourth area, self-sustainability. It's the most important part. And self-sustainability becomes before self-governance because you don't acquire self-governance, you become self-governant. You acquire self-sufficiency. So self-sufficiency has to be a model in going forward in each homestead region, and that's the purpose of the Kuli'ikanu program. The Kuli'ikanu program is to build the community development corporations to go after community lands and build resources such as what I call economic engines, revenue sources, build-outs, so that you can operate facilities like this that can serve the community. One park, cemetery. There's a lot of facilities that require funding, annual funding for maintenance and repairs. So I can tell you right now, the cemeteries in the state will not be able to handle itself or go bankrupt if they never charge one fee for buying one plot. They don't make money. I used to think that they didn't make money, but so my oldest daughter, father-in-law passed away last year, and he bought a plot in Mililani, and he paid $6,000 for the plot. Just the process of burial, $42,000 more. $42,000 more. And I could not believe that crap, man. So, yeah, that's kind of ridiculous. I cannot see our people paying the money, Our intentions is that the cemetery authority be self-sufficient, but it's going to be a long time before we can do the morgue and we can do this. It's money, right? So the morgue, the cremation. So we see different types of economic engines that the community development. We put in some examples or requests with land management. Other parcels and of land that we can develop economic engines to sustain our community and provide that resources. I mean, no different than how you go to the ledge for money for do what you gotta do. Now, how's the money coming from the federal government to do what you gotta do? We gotta find our resources, you know, and this homestead works really hard at finding that resources. I think most of you are aware of that, how the state started funding existing homesteads. It's hard work, you know. We've done that at the federal level, state level, and not yet with the county, but we're gonna work on the county. And a lot of people don't realize that that simple clause in the Constitution or the Admissions Act, that sufficient sums, quote, right, and then also identified in Article 12 of the Constitution, that the legislature shall provide adequate funding. A lot of people don't realize that that's because they have ceded lands. And you know who else has ceded lands? The federal government. At the time of territory, they withheld 393,000 acres of our ceded land, our lands, our government lands. Those lands, they never cede to the state, but they imposed on the state and the counties, but the counties don't do it. A portion of their revenue they generate from the ceded lands got to come back to help the beneficiaries of the Hawaiian Commission Act. But the federal government don't give money either. So, but we got to go ask them for money because there's a legal requirement for them to do that. So besides those kind of funding, we got to have a land management division. We need these guys on our community so that we can develop our community land to generate money for us so that we can do these kind of projects and we can self-sustain these projects. Okay, did I answer all your questions?
Above and beyond. Above and beyond, Uncle, as always.
Yes, Sergeant.
Mike, I have a question. So, one of our previous commission meetings, the Nanakuli homesteaders came and said that nobody's maintaining
Yeah.
their grave site area. And so that was something that kind of dawned on me. And then when I hear Molokai, family member is doing all the work, in this process of and I would consider that a low-hanging fruit, is to go find ways that we can fund these places to create a position that someone would be able to maintain, or some maintenance company would be able to maintain these places. Because that's
No.
going to become the problem
Yeah.
down the line.
Right. So as I mentioned, the whole purpose of the rehabilitation of our people is that each region should be developing economic engines to generate the funding so that they can fund themselves. You know, that's the whole purpose of the Kuli Canoe program, was to build the capacity. When Micah County created the Kuli Canoe program and created the regions, it was to create that community development corporation so that becomes the economic arm of that homestead to provide services. We just took it to the next level by creating divisions on top of that. So right now we hold 9 separate divisions within our homestead, separate from the membership organization that is Kuleana based. And so these entities, they're identifying their economic engines to sustain themselves. But not everyone can do that.
Yeah.
The cemetery, the park, the youth, the activities. So you need the main source. So like Waimanui Community Development Corporation, in our opinion, is the development arm and the budget and finance. Our job is to generate the funds so that we can sustain everything in our community. And then we could have that cemetery authority with a paid staff. So in the case of Nanakuli, it was volunteers. And like I said, that cemetery was there from the 1800s. That's how long that cemetery was there. You know, I get family in there too. So it was volunteers back then. Next generation took over the next generation. Now you had like 4 or 5 generations later. 5 generations later, those guys said, my great-great-grandfather went volunteer for take care of this place. I never volunteer. So it's kind of losing its position, right? But if Nanakuli had one economic engine from the homestead and created their own cemetery authority, they would have their own funds to maintain the stuff and not go begging. You know, because when you start asking for philanthropic money or different programs, I'm well aware of every source of funding you can find. I had a conversation 2 nights ago with the Native Americans on funding the cemetery.
Well,
You know,
my
I
next
had dinner
question
with
is,
them.
where are you finding the funding to do this
Oh, boy,
project?
yeah, this is fun. This is fun. Yeah, well, I can give you one example of the first project we took on was the COCO, Community Health Center. You know, it's a $16 million project. You know, we close to 10 million now. So we find money, whether it be philanthropic, whether it be state, county, federal, CIPs, GIAs, we find them everywhere possible. Even USDA, rural development loan, that's in the works. Yeah, we don't heal, but we ask everybody for money. Yeah.
Question? Chair, question?
Commissioner Namu.
Okay, is this your draft report?
No, this is my investigation
Oh,
to the commission.
okay, so you still have a draft report coming up, or a comprehensive report, but this is very comprehensive. I
Yeah.
only say that because I'm the Pelekekena of Ahuhui Ka'ahumanu.
Okay,
We own a secretary.
yeah.
And what you're saying and what you brought up are all-inclusive. So you just need to, I just need to see the report on what it's like.
When you say report my land request,
No, what your final report, because this
Oh,
is
that
your
was my final report.
investigation. But it's
The
very
pa- the-
comprehensive.
the paper I gave you, that was all the legal aspects of it.
Yeah, that is a good
Yeah.
start.
Yeah.
Because you're so correct about the cost of burials.
Yeah,
And especially for Hawaiians. And if we can make that work, that would be the greatest thing.
yeah,
But keep in mind that you're working with people.
yeah.
So that's the most difficult part, working with people and getting everyone to buy in on whatever plan that's come up, we come up with.
Yeah.
You come up with.
I think we have the difficulty, and it's our job, so I'm also the president of the homestead, right? So educating the Hawaiian people of who we were,
Yeah.
not who we are, who we were.
Yeah.
Because we no longer are people that we used to be.
Yeah.
The Native Hawaiian was a communal people, that they
But
took care of each
All of my
other.
members are Hawaiians.
Yeah,
And
but,
they will be buried in our cemetery.
yeah, but, so
But
what,
it's much more complex and much more emotional than just trying to set it up. Just beginning
Yeah.
is going to be a challenge, but it is worth it if we can do it, yeah.
so in the communal concept, this is an example already, like in our homestead, no cost nobody money for bury, because
Yeah.
we very communal. Waimanui is very communal.
Yes,
Backhoes come, shovels come, everything, every piece of equipment, everything possible come, you know, pulleys and straps, and we bury in the county cemetery at no cost to the family, other than a coffin nearby,
yes.
you know?
That's
And
right.
so, in a communal environment, it's not costly. But in the Western system of individual, me, myself, and I,
You still
all
have
three
to
of you.
follow all of the rules and regulations
Yeah.
that are set in law.
Yeah.
But your decisions about how you treat the person who gets buried
Yes.
is yours, once you do, once.
It's all the
once
same
you-
family.
Yes.
Everybody related.
Yes,
Talking
yes.
to brother, Lawrence
Yes,
over there.
yes.
We probably related. You know, it was just at Molokai for the family reunion, the Peilua family reunion, so us Hawaiians, we all related, and we all jump in and kokua.
Well, the money is the key, and we've resolved that to a point, but I think if this endeavor goes forward, having some kind of designated source to maintain the cemetery is very.
Yeah, that's all in our plans, yeah. As we go forward, as we develop land management with Frank, develop our, going after the license, we're gonna have all that concepts in place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the commission would be the authority.
We come to here, yeah.
Yes.
No, not the authority, land designator. So you have to designate the land as a cemetery and then license one cemetery authority. You don't want to take on that kuleana. Do you want to take on that kuleana? I give them to you.
I know it's difficult. My board is in charge.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you. But you've done a really great job. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Yeah, you have any else? Okay. Guys, we have to get into executive session, so why don't we take action on this item? Is it,
It's not an action item.
or it's for, or just
It's
information?
just information.
Okay, well, we look forward to a lot more information because it's a challenging area. So I do want to have consistency across the state. If we can learn from your process, especially keeping records and all that, I think it is an obligation of the department. I mean, we can't pass that on. We're going to have to get involved in that. So anyway, okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Mike.
Aloha.
Okay, the commission will convene in an executive session pursuant to section 92-5A4 HRS to consult with its attorneys on questions and issues pertaining to an update on the Richard Nelson versus Hawaiian Homes Commission case. I need a motion. Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, the commission is reconvening from its executive session. The commission reviewed and discussed its powers, duties, privileges, immunities, and liabilities related to the update on the Richard Nelson case. Okay, we have come to the end of today's agenda. Mahalo for your patience and for participating. Tomorrow's agenda starts at 9:30 a.m., starting with public testimony followed by the J agenda. Reminder that tomorrow's meeting will be convened by Commissioner Kaniakua, as several commissioners will be attending the 2026 legislative opening. Okay, let's see. Mahalo for attending. We are recessed for the day. Thank you.